Hello, beautiful heart. Thank you for being here. Today's episode will be recorded with Ada Andromeda Blonkvist. She is one of my closest friends. I can say, with her presence, assistance, knowledge, everything, her own experience. Actually, she assists me on my journey to be where I am, to comprehend the laws of the universe and to follow my inner voice and to come close to my heart and soul. So, you will hear about her story later on. Thank you for being here, Ada.
Thank you for inviting me here. So exciting. And thank you for being so uplifting because you are also very powerful and good with holding space for people to move energies and with all the healing work that you also do. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
thank
grateful.
you. Thank you so much. So, beautiful heart, today we think to speak about divine feminine, divine masculine, and I will let Ada to share her perspective, her point of view through her experience, to her inner higher knowledge that coming through all of us in individual ways. But today I will let Ada to share her perspective of this beautiful, but at the same time really intertwined, let's say, experience. So, yes, Ada, I let you to share what is this connection between a divine feminine and masculine. What is all this trigger coming up? What is this Kundalini that is activating in each of us, in both of us? What is all this dynamic that it's playing out? Why people pull off or move forward to experience and they suddenly something is happening and they pull back. So
Do
tell
you do
me,
you mean in a relationship or
in a relationship,
Mhm.
as yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, and you, I want to hear your perspective to the universal law ways,
Mm.
but also when we come back into this human perspective relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what I thought we would talk about the divine masculine and the divine feminine today, because yeah, we had this conversation earlier, and when we have conversations between us, we just go on and on and on. So we were like, why don't we just record a podcast, like, and share our experiences here, what we are talking about? So yeah, uh, well, I think you also have a lot to share, but maybe let's start from exploring what is the meaning of divine feminine and divine masculine in its essence, because everything that exists in this life, in this universe, is made of polarity, because without one or the other we cannot exist, like everyone knows. I mean, even the atoms are made of electrons and protons, this mass and plus and minus poles that both magnetize each other and repel each other, so they are in this constant dance, uh, and so on and so on. So so because we are in this situation in this planet right now of the awakening of consciousness, there is a lot to talk about this topic, because there are a lot of changes, like everyone knows and everyone is experiencing now on the planet. I guess most of people, a lot of changes in their relationships too, because the relationship with themselves is changing. That's what it's all about. So we have this divine masculine and divine feminine within us, or divine, just masculine and feminine side, if you will. So whenever consciousness is shifting on our planet, like it's doing in a major way right now, no matter how much you who is listening to this are aware of it or not, in which way, everyone has the unique process in it. In either way, consciousness is existing as physical, in this physical form. So that means our body is shifting. And because it's in order to shift that more effectively, we have to encounter something in our life that creates this catalyst of shifting that consciousness in our body. And what more can be powerful for that to happen than meeting someone in your life that reflects that counterpart side of you, or that mirror for you to shift what is no longer in alignment with who you are becoming. So of course the relationships are like the most effective ways between the masculine and feminine energy. Yeah, so this is something that fascinates me to talk about more about.
I want to ask you how you see, from your perspective of understanding your own experiences, these times when, for example, connect with a masculine, you go in a relationship, things are moving further, but then something is happening, something break from nowhere, from what what is that when the masculine get triggered, when masculine pull back, when the masculine get, let's say, maybe afraid, unconscious of something? How you see this experience when the feminine is sitting more in her power and she not obey to the masculine's ego in any form of shape? So what the dynamic there is experiencing?
Maybe it's good to go a little bit deeper into what does the feminine mean and what does the masculine
Yeah.
mean, because the feminine energy is more receiving, it's more channeling, it's more, actually it's more, it maybe looks like more chaos,
Mm.
but it's actually the free spirit flow of energy flowing through you. So it's like it's really a powerful guiding force, but because it's in alignment with the universal laws or the nature's laws, it doesn't have a structure to it. But I think the masculine is more like we also need that, because the masculine side of us is what can put that into practice in this physical reality, and it's also to put our boundaries in order. It's also this assertive way of moving forward to what you would like to achieve on how you express yourself. So these two needs to be in balance, of course. And I think many times, because if you look at a global perspective, with the collective consciousness in this awakening process that we are in, the consciousness shifting on this planet, it makes sense somehow on a grander scale that the masculine energy can, because it's about structure, and everything that is about structure is crumbling down on this planet at this time.
Yes.
So of course the masculine part of us can be a little bit triggered about the feminine aspect that is coming more out and more alive, and she's this inner voice that needs to be heard. It's these suppressed energies that hasn't been allowed to be heard and felt. Is about really feeling your feelings in your body and not putting it into the mind. But the mind, of course, it will resist the soul, the flow of energy, the free spirited, because it's so, it's not something the mind can grasp. It's so
Wild.
wild, yeah, and chaotic
And
maybe.
chaotic, yeah.
And that chaotic side is what is forcing our lives to be broken down. So collectively this happens on a global scale, but this also happens a lot, it has to happen on the individual scale because we are connected. So having said that, I have a feeling, and I've heard a lot of experiences whenever, of course the feminine, it's all about balancing our own masculine and feminine sides inside of ourselves in the end. But it's quite powerful when a man and a woman, okay, you can also be gay, lesbian, whatever, I'm just talking about the feminine and masculine energy now coming together. And let's talk about men and women just to keep it simple, because men have their men's body and women have their women's bodies. So um it's about the energy. So whenever you get really attracted to someone, it's actually calling you to come closer to yourself. So what more can be as powerful as being activated by each other the masculine and feminine, a man and a woman meeting and getting it's again this inner fire, this force, life force, this kundalini that gets activated, which comes from the root chakra in our base of the body, because that's the base of everything. That's where all the transformation can really be done in the most effective way as possible, in order to shift everything in our life and ourselves. So what more can be powerful than someone who holds that specific counterpart to you? If you are a feminine and you meet a masculine, you meet a man, and that man holds something that is mirroring exactly that in you. And that's why the sexual energy can also be a little bit overwhelming, but it's actually a fuel that starts a new process in your life to shift something, in order for you to transform yourself, to come to the next level of you, to come more closer, to become more of that, of who you really are. But in order to become who you really are, you have to see all that you are not. So of course, the masculine energy that is more structured might get a little bit triggered by this chaotic feminine energy that is just vomiting out all the energies to transform, like kind of energetically transform every energy anyway. So yeah, I see somehow like a pattern that when people meet nowadays, this really powerful connection that you get so attracted to, and they are so attracted to you. But then when things that they know as a reality from the before has to crumble down, it's scary. So they want to run away from this connection. It's normal that this happens. From the masculine side more, I would say, because it's more structured. So it makes sense that this new reality on earth is about the divine feminine becoming more of the leading force. And we are not feminists. We are not talking about the woman leading the men or anything. It's the divine feminine essence, this flow of energy, this
Flow of life,
divine.
because
In my
Yeah.
perspective, divine feminine is just allowing the life to flow. She don't have restriction. That's why it's chaos. That's why it's wild, because it's like in constant moving, and you never know what you meet tomorrow or next moment, because
she's just with the flow of the nature. That's why it's wild, because she's not having a structures like the masculine, but she just allowed to flow, and she's respond to what it's coming in front of her. So yeah.
And and yeah, we need both.
Yes,
But
definitely.
but it's really it's really a lot. Like, we have been living in these thousands of years where this kundalini, this life force, it has been suppressed in us. So when it's coming out and it's becoming alive again, which gets more activated, especially in this relationship of this attraction between men and women, or the masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah, this is also an interesting subject to speak about, this attraction that people misunderstand. What is in reality those powerful activation kundalini, and they misinterpreted it with the physical attractions, when in reality is just a soul to soul connection activating each other. And that is actually the most beautiful moment, because it's need to take the responsibility and go within and solve it, instead of jumping in each other and actually use and abuse those energies by releasing it into the sexual contact. I kind of see it this way, because
So it can also be the other way than running away from it, being scared of it.
yeah, also can be that if the feminine is not aware, in this case, when the feminine is, because if the feminine is aware, she knows her boundaries, she knows where to put the line in the sand, and then the man has to choose to run or to dive more deep in himself.
Yeah. I really see it like knowing your worth is to know your boundaries.
Yes.
But knowing your worth, for me, it really means to know your own energy in your body.
Exactly.
So
know who you are.
yeah,
to the
because
core.
yeah, exactly, because who you are is knowing your energy in your body, because you cannot hold on to an identity.
No.
Really, yes, we have a personality, and we are grown up in this culture, this and that is a part of who we are, how we behave, blah, blah, blah. But when you really know yourself as an energy, you are not as bound by a specific identity or a label, or you don't have this need for validation, to get that validation externally to you, or so much attachments, but it's more of a open-hearted space. So yeah, knowing your worth is really like knowing your energy in your body. So it makes sense that all the relationships right now is changing when the consciousness is changing on the planet, because we cannot anymore put the relationship into a box. But I mean, it's a dance, it's an interplay between the masculine and feminine energy. It's a force. As I said before, like everything is made of the plus and the minus, the dark and the light, and the sun and the moon. It's kind of like this interplay between the opposite, like the protons and the electrons in the atoms. Everything is made up of, but they have to be in an interplay. So to really have this understanding what the relationships are and becoming now in this new reality more, is to understand that this is all a reflection of yourself. So how you are in alignment with yourself, or where you are not in alignment with yourself, will become more reflected on the outside of you, especially in a relationship.
So, with this said, I understand that when a woman and a man, let's speak a bit, not a gender, let's say the energies of divine feminine and masculine, when they decide to come in together, and those alignment relationship, those divine counterpart or whatever, then it means that both has to take responsibility over their own trauma, over their emotions, over their own actions. It's like, it's not anymore a relationship in the old way where I need this or to live and survive, or the man will help me with money and I will take care of the house and kids. Now it's more about, hey, we are both walking in the same direction. We are both separately take responsibility over our own self,
Our own feelings,
our
and
own feelings
yeah.
and energies, and both of us put the boundaries to say it, where is the line, where I accept, what I not accept, and then kind of learning a new path together. That's what I understand from you. And by choosing this is actually helping the collective, because you bring a new experience in the world.
And actually, I really feel and believe, actually know, that a relationship can only be a lasting thing, if you allow all the changes to be involved in it. If you allow yourself to be committed to that, but as a mirror to yourself, that you are not committed to someone because you are tied down somehow, or you put this relationship in a box. I don't mean like you can, if you feel like cheating on your person, okay, that's your own choice, but you are again running away from your truth. If you really are and meet someone that reflects this truth of who you are in your soul, which is powerful, and this sexual energy is the Kundalini, it's powerful, you feel it, and that is like a mirror, creates this mirror effect to you, if you are in how committed you are to your own truth within. So there can be changes in a relationship, because there are changes within yourself. But in the end, you can also accept by being apart from each other long times and give space to each other. You don't have to put it so much in the box. That's the more in the new reality, I think. And still there can be commitment. And actually, when there is a commitment on a soul level to that other person who is your counterpart energetically to you, you know that that's actually a commitment to you, yourself, your own purpose. And if you have that more clear within you, you trust the highest good. What's for the highest good? You trust the universe, you trust the flow of energy, you know your worth because you trust your own energy inside you. your alignment, you prioritize your inner alignment. And if that's the priority, then everything on an external reality will reflect that back to you too. So you create so much trust to the universe that you don't give a shit anymore if someone leaves your life. Yeah, you will maybe be a little bit sad if you love someone and that person leaves you, but in the end you also know that there's a reason for everything when you really trust. So as long as two people are really attracted to each other and really are these kind of counterparts to each other, then if they both, the feminine and masculine, can have trust in the higher purpose of life, in what's for the highest good, and be aligned with that, which means in a commitment to one's self purpose in this life, one will sustain one's energy, and the other person will sustain that person's energy. So there will be more of a flow of give and take, and not so much codependency, giving, or taking, but rather, you know, being in this dance of give and take of energies, because it's reflected of your own, how committed to your or to yourself. So if you're running away from that person, fine, you have a choice, but in the end you have a soul, you have a higher self that knows much better what's your truth, who you really are, which is nothing to do with society's labels, names and titles and the norms.
Yeah, and if when the soul has been chosen that this will how it be, the ego, whatever is choosing, it will crumble, it will suffer, it will stay in suffering if the person are not choosing that what is for the highest good. That's what is the soul's decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. While you're speaking, I'm seeing this to the global scale, and I would like we to go on to that level. For example, we know and we see it what's going on today into the world. Like the everything is collapsing. Everything what we thought, a lot of shit coming up, a lot of shocking events happening. You know, all this.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on? So while you speak, I see this our planet Earth, our Mother Earth, that this has kind of covered in a shadow energies, and now it's cracking, and through this cracking, I see this light coming through, which I see the divine feminine rising. So I like to go a little bit on this, how you see this perspective, or this speaking to the biggest scale, to, let's say, Mother Earth, what has been playing out to the last thousands of years. What was all that about? Men taking the power, men doing, men deciding, men taking the lead, men. And what is and where we go from this year further?
And again, it's not about the men taking the
No,
power, because it's more
no.
like the masculine energy taking the
Exactly.
power
Yes.
of the free flowing
Yes.
divine
I say
essence.
men. I say men because it's represented divine masculine.
Yeah.
But tell me your perspective. What you see has been played out to this moment related with the divine masculine, and what is from your feeling, what you receive, it's all to be moved towards when the divine feminine is rising.
Yeah, because it's about the women also knowing their own feminine essence, because they have also been pulled into this structured way of living, of allowing the mind to take over totally the body, instead of allowing the energy and the feelings and emotions and everything consciousness through the body freely. But now when it's being purged and released, it's like when you really start to work with your own mental patterns, you understand that they're actually consciousness in the body. So you have to go in the body to shift the consciousness. Again, everything physically exists of consciousness. So because I work with past lives, I bring people into the soul journeys that I do, to remember, for them to wherever their higher selves take them to these memories where they were living with their gifts and so on and so on. It's really changing the cellular body in the body, is because everything happens from the cellular level in the body. So that's why from these experiences, I don't need to go so much into that, but from these experiences I know and have and know that more truths will come out about Atlantis, for example, and why the last fall of Atlantis happened about 12,000 years ago. And from my experience, from all the experiences from all the soul journeys where people go into these memories and relive it and so on and so on, I realized that in Atlantis, we lived in a higher dimensional plane on this planet. And that means, because when you live in a higher dimension, you're still in this three-dimensional reality, which is this physical reality. But you are able to combine your connection to the universe, to source, through this physical body, which means channeling. And if you don't know what channeling means, you can also call it just free flow of energy, trusting and allowing the flow of life work through you without the mind interfering. But the mind is more like something that follows that, the mind is there to hold space for this divine essence to flow through you. So it's like, that's how they work together. So in Atlantis, we were more living like that. That's what we could do, all kinds of crazy and unbelievable stuff, like, and we work with extraterrestrials and things like that. Anyway, but after the last fall of Atlantis, it was time for us to have an experience of disconnection, because the universe gets to know itself through knowing who you are not. So when also same way with us people, in order to know who we really are, we have to know who we are not also. So after the last fall of Atlantis, we fell into a lower dimension on this planet. So we were more disconnected from our spirit in the body. So it was then, since all these thousands of years since then, we have walked through life after life, being born here and reincarnated here on earth to experience all of these three-dimensional way of living, in fear, in programming, in codependency, in survival, which is totally the ego, the mind. But now what's happening is almost like this cosmic intervention. So we are in exact point of the time where Atlantis fell, but we will not fall this time. Now we have collected all the experiences during the thousands of years so that we can take back our birthright of liberating our souls. And it's amazing because we are doing in this very physical, dense reality. And that's why it's so powerful what's going on in this planet at this time. But yeah, it's finishing that 12,000 years process. That's how I see it. So yeah, the women, as women, you also have to know how you have been programmed into this masculine way of being. It's like, to take back your power is not to look down at the masculine and think that you don't need a masculine. That's actually your own wounded masculine within you, when you think that you have your shit together and trust yourself, but trust your energy. Don't trust what the mind tells you. To really know your power and take back your power is, again, to know yourself as energy. And again, it doesn't have a label. So to be in your feminine essence is to know your own energy and also know how to receive those experiences and receive the support from the masculine, that can support that feminine, the divine essence, to support that, to sustain in this earthly life. That's how I see it.
So, because while you speak again, I'm receiving images, I'm just seeing things. Because what we experience right now is mostly equal with what's happening in Atlantis. But this time we don't fail, we just kind of and rise up again. Because we have to see the stuff that has been hidden or lied, or all this programmed and all these fake reality illusions that have been sold to us. So of course it will kind of go low because collective consciousness, or the humanity, it will go to a point where they don't know where to look, right or left, because they will lose the trust in everything. And everything, like even themselves, they will have the question, who are we in the end? What are we in the end anyway? So then when we rise, is I see, like, with the support of the divine feminine, we will rise up again, because the divine feminine
have no structure.
Mhm.
She's the source flowing through. She's there's the life force that is just allowing. She don't put her mind into, she just trusts her being, trust her energy, trust everything that. So with the support of the divine feminine, humanity will rise, and after when they will rise, actually the divine feminine energy will assist humanity to remember more of who they are, so they can take their power back. When I say that, as you said, is to know your energy, is to know who you are as energy. And then from that place, like divine feminine and masculine will learn new ways to balance themselves, to see that they are equal and there is no difference, because divine feminine and the divine masculine, they have their own unique role to play in the collective consciousness, which is equally powerful and necessary.
Yeah,
Yin
exactly.
and yang. Yeah, I just want to add because I just see these images while you're speaking,
Yeah.
and it's look, from my perspective, I see how important is the divine feminine essence, how important is to understand the role of woman in this world. And that's why from other side, I understand why the truth about the woman and the divine feminine was actually hidden or less spoken about. It's kind of sitting there. That's why the woman was suppressed, and they are still suppressed today.
And why child human trafficking has been so
Yeah.
much yeah.
Yeah, because human trafficking, again, yes, exactly, and child trafficking, sexual, it's because the children are also so pure.
Exactly.
They are divine, pure. They don't get engaged with this human ego mind. Really, they are just pure souls. So there is also, yeah, it's another story from another time, but yeah.
Yeah, but definitely, yeah, I see this, that's why we are so many people on this planet now, because it's so many are incarnated to have this huge consciousness shift experience on this planet. And that's also means that you will meet those kind of soul mates, twin flames, whatever name you
Yes.
want to put it. You don't have to put labels on it, but this kind of counterparts to your soul, or this kind of a these kind of connections that are deeper, that bring out this explosive energy within you, which is related to the sexual energy, but it's which is so much more than that. This whole energy is nothing to do with sex. Again, yes, it's a part of that, but it's the life force. It's the spirit wanting to come free through your body. Is that is being awakened now between the masculine and feminine, men and women. Again, it's not about gender, but the masculine and feminine as counterparts activating each other. So that is the most effective way for that shift to happen. So yeah, so you don't have to resist it. Be ready to have your old life crumbling down, everything that you knew about yourself crumbling down. That's a part of this process. And knowing that this relationship dynamics will change, because it's all about bringing yourself to more back, closer to the truth of who you are, in and having this person as a mirror to you in that way. That's what this is all about. So it's really inspiring talking about this divine feminine and divine masculine, because we are going into topics of Atlantis, even though I didn't plan to talk about that, but it is
because,
important.
Yeah, because as I know, you remember the life in Atlantis, how you lived in that times, and how you trust that energy within, and how the masculine and the feminine was trusting that essence in themselves. And today we have to bring that reality back in knowing your own energy. So it makes sense. Anyway, this is a subject that definitely we will talk more about. I'm passionate because I feel and I see how it's so misunderstood, this dynamic between a feminine and masculine, and how much people are 95%, I guess more than 95% of the relationship on the planet Earth is based on the wounded, on the root chakra, on just lust or needs or trauma or stuff. So it's time to bring into Okay. It's so interesting. Here we are back because again, like look how the divine feminine is suppressed. Yeah, even we start to record and something has happened, internet fall down, technology, everything is just crushed down. But here we are again, and we want to close this moment by asking you, Ada, what you have to add more to this, what we speak today, and maybe if you have a small message there into the world related with the divine feminine and masculine.
Don't be afraid of your old reality crumbling down. That's part of the process. You are held and protected by the universe anyway, and but you cannot know that. You cannot know how held and protected you are by the universe unless you surrender. So the only way to surrender is by your old life coming crumbling down. Everything
Yeah.
that you knew about yourself crumbling down. So that's what we are going through. So um the masculines the message I have for men is don't be afraid of this kind of intense connections, a connection with a woman who you feel really attracted to, but it feels like it's changing your whole life and everything is crumbling down because of that connection, and you're experiencing stuff that your mind cannot grasp. Don't be afraid of it. Move forward. Allow it. And the message I have for women or the feminine energy is yeah, also don't be afraid of surrendering to that deeper process of the energy in your body. And if you're doing it already, know also how to place your boundaries, because you trust your energy, so you trust your word, so you also know how to put boundaries whenever you feel like something is not alignment with that. So again, we are all learning to balance out these masculine and feminine energies within us. But this is what this is about, this process on earth with these two sides of the coins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, beautiful heart. We will come back with more of the divine feminine and masculine because I feel it's so important to grasp the deepest layer of what we have not been told about, and we are actually bringing this up into the light by our own experiences, trusting that flow of life, trusting the energy in our bodies that's teaching us more than we have ever knew until moment in this time. So yes, stay in touch, take care of yourself, and yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid the old reality to crumble, and to trust that you are held, you are protected, and wherever you are being taken is a better place where you mind wants to take, which is the ego. So thank you, beautiful hearts.